Woman, here, what's the male equivalent of giving your wife a vacuum for her birthday? Story 1. A snow shovel. Many men like having and using tools, especially power tools, but a regular snow shovel says, it's your job to go do backbreaking work out in the cold and have it done by the time I need to leave. Story 2. When I was a kid I knew my dad used tools a lot, so I'd have my mom take me to Home Depot and I'd pick him out a tool. I thought men just liked tools as gifts. Most of the tools I got him were tools he already had, and oftentimes they were cheaper ones than the one he had already got himself. He still always was nice about it, and made an effort to show me him using the tool at some point, so yeah, my gifts were low-key useless in hindsight. Story 3. A vacuum for a birthday tends to be a gift saying I believe that you are primarily in charge of this chore. Here is a new tool to perform this chore better faster. With that in mind, I would imagine anything that is a stereotypically male chore is up for grabs. Trash bags, weed eater, oil pan. The best is probably work gloves. It basically screams I believe that you are primarily in charge of doing physical labor that is dangerous to your hands. Here are some gloves to possibly help in case you maim yourself. Story 4. I'm really trying to wrap my head around this because a lot of these answers are actually ideas for gifts for a man, which I think is opposite of the vacuum for a woman scenario. I feel like the frustration with the vacuum gift for a woman is that it could be read as low-key and high-key, but more importantly be it something that should be bought at a general time with general family funds as something everyone needs or benefits from whether they acknowledge it or not. Thus, what is a gift a dude would feel almost insulted by in receiving? Mouthwash mints, ED pills, a planner. Story 5. My uncle bought my aunt a shotgun for Christmas once. One had been wanting, so he could teach her to shoot and then we can share guns. Lucky for him she didn't shoot him, but for his next birthday she got him a dress she'd been wanting and said, "I'll teach you to dress up and we can share clothes." They got divorced a few years later. Story 6. Why are people answering with power tools? Assuming we don't already have a good one of them, we love getting that kind of stuff. I think the male equivalent would be getting tickets to a Taylor Swift concert or something that he has no interest in. Story 7. My brother commented that the large wall in their front hall looked a bit bare and they should put something there. He was thinking a coat hanger or a corkboard for pictures. For his birthday his wife bought him a massive to-do family planner honey-do list board. It had a monthly calendar, a daily planner thing that somehow ended up being only for her, and the honey-do list is basically where she wrote down what she wanted him to do. He sort of liked it. He ignored the honey-do list because he had his own list, and he was already using a calendar to try to manage her. So in the end it basically relocated disagreements to the front hall, but I feel like it was more for her than him. Story 8. Amazing how many people don't get why a vacuum for the wife is a bad gift. It's not because it's boring, it's because it comes with a tacit assumption that she will do all the vacuuming. You're not giving her a gift, you're giving her a chore, you're telling her that you expect her to be the maid and clean up after you. A vacuum cleaner shouldn't be a gift, it should be a household expense like groceries. Story 9. Man, here, every gift people have posted here, I would love to get. Practical gifts are amazing immo and I don't get why anyone would think otherwise. Mind you, I'm not trying to invalidate anyone else's feelings on the matter. I'm simply coming from the point of view where I just don't understand it. Story 10. 1. Cheap tools or a cheap version of anything functional. 2. A style of clothing that you want us to wear that we've never bought. Look honey, a beret. I've always said you look stylish in a beret. Story 11. I really think that there is not an equivalency. In general, men enjoy the prospect of gaining a new or better tool for the purpose of home or work projects. Towels. Story 12. Basically whatever you get me for Father's Day that sucks, but I'm supposed to be excited about. Yet, I'm supposed to make every Mother's Day exciting, memorable, and meaningful. Story 13. There is no equivalent. With vacuum comes the assumption of the responsibility of vacuuming the home, which is hard domestic work and very frequent. Maybe a pot or a pair dishwashing gloves can somehow be equivalent. Story 14. Getting gimmick-type gifts when he has a serious hobby, e.g. golf stuff he'll never use, or if it is something she's always wanted and he's never shown any interest, e.g. the new throw rug for the living room. Story 15. A grill, mower, or other similar tool. People talking about ties and socks, but one key problem with the vacuum gift IMO is that it comes with an expectation that there's a task they must do and own for eternity. Story 16. A lot of people are saying tools. It really depends, I think. If they are into home improvement or mechanical stuff, sure they can be a great gift, but there are caveats. Tools should be something they don't have, or is an obvious upgrade to an old damaged tool. Battery power tools should match the preferred brand they already have, even if it is an upgrade. No one wants two sets of batteries that don't work for all their tools. Steer clear of niche tools, tile cutters, paint sprayers, planers, etc. unless you know for a fact they want one. Story 17. Grill accessories. Unless he actually needs a new spatula or brush, he does not need a new spatula, brush, apron, or whatever else, especially if it's branded. If his favorite team's logo is on it, it's trash. Story 18. Telling your only kid they can go camping with their friend on Father's Day. It was 3 years before I mentioned anything. 13 years and I am still waiting to go camping with my wife and kiddo on Father's Day. Story 19. A time comes in a man's life when he gets a power drill and battery combo pack and they become loyal to that brand for the rest of their life. So that's getting a Milwaukee tool for a DeWalt guy. Story 20. I was at the store with my son-to-be wife. It happened to be her birthday, and she said, "Hey, go get a new vacuum cleaner because we needed one for the house." I stared at her until she asked why, and all I could say was, my survival instinct won't let me buy a vacuum on your birthday. I need a minute. Similarly, a week after we started living together, I realize we're both looking at our phones as SVU is on TV, and neither of us are watching. I ask if she minds if I play a video game. She says, I'm going to take a shower, so go ahead, it's fine. Then gets up and goes to the bedroom. I froze. She comes back a minute later, and there I am, holding the remote, SVU still on her. Weren't you going to play a game? Me, you said go ahead, it's fine, I can't do it. She rolls her eyes, and says yeah but I left because it's really fine, you know I'm not like Thatch is not, and all I could say was I know. But hearing go ahead, it's fine made me rethink my whole life. Story 21. A tie or a belt. A power tool unless he specifically asks for one. The Father's Day Home Depot commercials do a great disservice to men. Not every man wants a garage full of tools and machines. Story 22. Everyone saying things like lawnmowers and tools. I feel like you don't know men. I'd love it if my wife got me a new mower for my birthday. Actually been hitting for one for a couple years. I think for most guys the equivalent of buying your wife a vacuum cleaner would be to buy the guy something like a bottle of laundry detergent. Story 23. Ties, socks, underwear. Give me a tool anytime. Even if I have it already, I have multiple toolboxes and a workbench in the basement. If I have a duplicate it saves me a trip to the basement. Story 24. One year, one of the gifts I gave my college-age daughter for Christmas was a toolkit. She was living in a house with other girls and I knew she'd need it. She didn't show it but I knew she wasn't thrilled with it. Later she started dating a boy whose mom had given him an iron and ironing board. Turns out they both found out these unappreciated gifts more than they had realized they would. Story 25. I think that depends on the person, just like getting a vacuum would be. I'm sure there are a lot of women out there who would love a new vacuum. I know my mom has actually put it on her birthday and Christmas list many times, but we don't want to get that for this same reason. Story 26. Men are wired differently. Practical gifts like that will be met with excitement. My ex-girlfriend bought me an expensive cordless drill driver set for my birthday once and it was the greatest gift ever. She's long gone but I still use the drill. Story 27. How about getting him a vacuum for his birthday? My hub is the one who vacuums our house. Not because him or he is. I am severely right-handed. Like my left hand is just here for decoration to make me look even, but I have really bad arthritis in my right shoulder and need a full replacement. Vacuuming is the type of repetitive motion that ends up hurting a lot. What are typical man chores they don't like? Taking out the trash, so trash bags, plungers, bed sheets, car oil, dog bags. Story 28. Toolkit or most clothing items. I know what I want or need. Honestly I'd rather some type of experience. Even just organizing a hiking trip and everyone enjoys time together would be great for a birthday. Story 29. There isn't, and it's weird to me that someone would find that insulting. Give me a new torque wrench or circular saw for my birthday. Yeah, a tie, a freaking tie. Story 30. I don't think there is a broader cultural equivalent. There can be an equivalent within a relationship, but in a cultural sense the dynamics between sexes within the patriarchal society don't set the same expectations. Men are seen as the breadwinners and control resources, so a woman isn't typically seen as enforcing power over a man by selecting a gift. The man can have what he wants when he wants through his own autonomy as head of household, so is not defined and limited by a woman's choice of gift. I don't agree with the structure and expectation, but the exceptions, which thankfully are more and more, are from unique relationships which are going to have their own equivalents for which there is no general answer. But a relationship that doesn't follow patriarchal expectations is likely to be one of consideration and respect. There may be relationships where women dominate and wield power over the man, and he has limited choices, but I would think these would be rare and curiosities unto themselves. Story 31. If he's stupid, give him a new toothbrush. Almost anyone can understand the implication that their breath stinks. If he's got the least bit of emotional intelligence, give him a coupon for one free, or one night of. An idiot will be thrilled, but any man with the least bit of sense will intuit having with you is an unwanted chore. Get him a socket set where every socket is either 9mm or 11mm. Story 32. Tools if they're not for a hobby he loves. Nice tools for a dude into woodworking or cars or something can be a nice gift. Tools for a guy who has no tool-related hobbies are just a different version of a vacuum. Story 33. I think the vacuum represents the only thing I know about you is what you do around the house. He assumes she'd want a vacuum because vacuuming is such a large part of her personality. Also, vacuums are expensive, so I submit a fancy trash can. They cost way more than they have any right to, and if you only notice your husband when he's taking out the trash, you may think, wow, his trash can is really looking ratty. I bet he really wants a new one, but just doesn't get it because it's so expensive. He's going to be so excited to get such a thoughtful gift. Story 34. One shelf that needs to be installed. 2. A pile of sod that need to be laid. 3. A picture frame, with a picture included but not in the frame, and some screws so he can hang it up, for a car wash kit. 5. A scrub brush that goes into the drill. Story 35. I think it's a can of paint. It's a statement that even though we could share that labor, and even though it benefits both of us, I'm arbitrarily putting it all on you while I choose the color that you will look at for years to come. Story 36. A power strip, a roll of trash bags, a collapsible ladder, a plastic bucket with sponges and towels to wash the car, a car tarp cover, a scooper and a roll of baggies for the dog. Story 37. You have 2 solutions. Either you tell him that a vacuum cleaner in a house appliance is not a gift to his wife, and you tell him what you want. Or you can tell him it's a great idea to give each other gifts that would be handy in the house and say it with joy and gratitude for the gift like you really mean it, and then you start giving him house gifts that you need around the house. All you need is communication. Talk to him about this. Determining which way to go depends on you and your husband. If you are practical and he doesn't choose nice personal gifts, then let him get house gifts that you need, and you get yourself the gift you like. If he is a nice guy, he just doesn't know how to choose the right gifts, and you want something for yourself, then just tell what gift you want. Some men are as simple as that, they want to make you happy, but don't know how. You tell them what will please you and they will do it. If he is cheap or selfish or inconsiderate, then you start getting him house gifts that will benefit you around the house. Story 38 People have already added ideas way better than mine, but I like to add useless tools for working men. I know that little multi-screwdriver set at the impulse buy counter near the cash at Inijo is neat looking, but it's useless to anyone who is going to need it for more than repairing a pair of eyeglasses is going to break it in 3 minutes because it's made with the cheapest plastic and low-grade metal possible. That Nito level with a 3-foot tape measure that comes out the side and a laser pointer comes out the other side, it's useless. No one who only needs a 3 feet of tape is going to schlep around that clunky thing. The laser is only good for getting your cats to chase it, and the level is good for nothing because it keeps falling over thanks to the tape and laser making the balance so terrible. Just buy him a gift card or socks he likes instead, he'll get more use out of them. Story 39 To this day my wife loves telling the story about me giving her a Dyson handheld cordless vacuum as a gift. I forget if it was Christmas or Mother's Day or what, but she will sincerely tell you it's her favorite vacuum ever, and one of her favorite gifts I've given her outside of things I created myself that were more heartfelt creativity than simply purchased. Reason is my wife legitimately loves to clean. At the end of the day, gotta know your audience. Story 40 As in a gift that sucks because it's just a necessity. I remember my mom wrapping up new socks and underwear and t-shirts. Even as a kid I was like, that's not nice, Mom. Story 41 Ties, socks, underwear and the common equivalent, low effort and necessities. We always got my dad ties and work shirts because that's what my mom said he wanted. Now as an adult is be extremely disappointed with those as gifts. Sorry Dad. Also explains why I'm at picking out gifts to this day. Story 42 Other power tools. A vacuum is literally just power tools too. Power tools make life easier for people who do a lot of manual labor tasks. Makes sense they're a popular thoughtful gift. I do some handyman style gig work, and my wife gives me better tools or attachments to make it easier all the time. She also got me my first pair of AirPods so I wouldn't get tangled up with wired earbuds at work anymore. Intent is super important for this type of gift, and you can't fake your way through it. The truth of the matter is woven into the very dynamic of your relationship. Your partner will feel the difference regardless of anything you say. If you give your wife a vacuum hoping she'll vacuum more often, that's tone deaf and shitty, and you and her both know well this is an attempt at a gift for you, not one for her. On the other hand, if your wife is already vacuuming all the time and it just makes her sad how slow or clunky the vacuum is, replacing it for her is a wonderfully thoughtful gift. But again, you cannot fake your way through this difference, not even with genuine denial. If literally any part of you even slightly hopes the new vacuum will increase the amount of vacuuming that gets done, she will know, and she will be disappointed. She will know because of the dynamics of your relationship, not because of what you say when you give it to her. The vast majority of relationships are at least a little bit score-kept transactional. Even scorekeeping that's mutually agreed upon and generally considered socially acceptable, like measuring relative financial contributions to the household, for example, is a red flag that you don't have the type of relationship where giving your wife a vacuum for her birthday would go over well. This kind of works when and only when both partners are so head over heels selflessly in love that scorekeeping of any kind would feel silly. Story 43 I got a re-gifted Lynx Africa Set deodorant and body wash combo one birthday. A hangover from the Christmas prior, originally a gift that I purchased for a teenage nephew who was deemed to be too old for that level of cringe. Surprised? Yes, in a good way, no. Story 44 A tie. I have to wear a tie to work every day, and I hate ties. If it's my birthday, I want something fun. I'll buy my own cheap ties and wear them every day until they disintegrate, but a hammer or soldering iron or multimeter, yeah, good gift. 2 tickets to a musical. Story 45 ID say a generic necktie or pack of 3 socks or undies. Whilst these don't have the same connotation of work and duty as a vacuum cleaner, it speaks of a lack of care or specialness. It's just a functional gift devoid of specialness. Story 46 Honestly, this kind of doesn't work because men get the fun jobs like building things and repairing stuff when it breaks rather than tedious everyday chores, so like a new trash can, some tiles for the roof. Story 47 Setting up an activity on my birthday that she wants to do, not what I want to do. I don't want to have my in-laws over for dinner so I have to cook for them. I want to go to the brewery and play pinball. Story 48 A PS5 with GTA 6 already pre-ordered. Hell hate it for real. So much in fact hell probably not talk to you for weeks. Yeah, that will show him dash. Story 49 There's no way my girlfriend is getting a vacuum cleaner for her birthday. Over my dead body. They're about $100. Maybe in a few years if she still insists. Story 50 Not an answer to the question but falls in line with it. Once I got my first job and graduated from most household chores, I got my younger siblings a nice spo shovel the next Christmas. Story 51 A drill set or any toolkit. A lawnmower, paintbrushes and rollers, a ladder and gutter rake, a leaf blower, a pressure washer, a car detailing kit, a Home Depot's gift card, a Pep Boys gift card, etc. Story 52. We got our dad grilling equipment one year, and he did in fact cook dinner with it. He's a Jehovah's Witness anyway, so I don't think he cared, but we definitely could have been more creative and personable.